welcome to day three of TestMu conference. We'll just wait for a couple of minutes so that we can see folks coming in. If you're here, please use the emoji icon to show us some love and your support. And do tell us where are you joining from, because I'm sure that our keynote speaker for the day would love to know that. Awesome. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. My name is Kavya. I'm Director of Product Marketing at Lambda Test, and I'll be the host for today's keynote session. Let me first introduce you to our keynote speaker, Subba Ramaswamy, is the Head of Quality Engineering Americas at Accenture, and she brings more than 2 decades of global experience across multiple industries and technologies, having lived and worked across Europe, North America, and India. Subba plays the role of technology services lead and delivery executive with her extensive experience in managing and delivering complex transformation programs as well as outsourcing engagements involving digital data, agile DevOps, cloud, and legacy modernization. So, in short, she's almost done it all. She speaks at a variety of internal and external forums on leadership, technology, quality engineering, and technology apprenticeship. Subha will today speak on AI and GenAI in quality engineering, crawl, walk, run, and she will highlight AI and GenAI, how AI and GenAI are basically revolutionizing the testing landscape as we speak. But many engineering and QA teams today are struggling to navigate the complexities of implementing them effectively in their teams. In this keynote, Subha is going to present how experience-based point of view can help teams to take a measured step-by-step approach to adopting AI in testing. Just to let you know, we'd also love to keep the conversation going. So if you have any question at any point of time, please make sure that you are sharing it in the Q&A box so that we can take a look at it. Over to you, Subha.
Thank you so much, Kavya. You've been very, very kind with your introduction. And thank you for the opportunity to present to this amazing audience. I'm looking at the chat here. I don't mean to be distracted, but amazing group of folks all the way from India, Europe, wow, Spain, Manchester, Texas. We've got everybody from everywhere. So I'm looking forward to having this as an interactive session. So we will definitely reserve about 10 minutes to have Q&A. Let me share a few slides and a point of view and my experiences in this world of AI, Gen AI, and agentic, how fast things are going. If any of us claim to be experts, we'd be lying, right? We are all trying to figure this out jointly. So this is going to be my humble attempt at sharing our experiences, my personal experiences of implementing AI and now even looking at agentic AI proof of concepts, which can truly benefit our engagement with ROI at the bottom of everything, right? So that's going to be my humble attempt. We'll take some questions and see what your experiences have been. So we'll use the emojis and emoticons to also answer some of the questions as I talk even during the first 15 minutes. I hope you're able to see my screen, team. Perfect. That helps. Let me. I guess I'm just having a bit of challenge navigating to the next screen. Perfect. When we talk about modern quality engineering, this is just to give you some proof points of this is not going to be another buzzword. And I'm sure in the last 2 days of discussions, you've seen in the conference amazing co-presenters here that have shared their experiences, industry leaders that have shared. This is not a buzz. This is here to stay. It's about finding how this can benefit our individual teams. Starting with, by 2028, it's predicted 80% of the testing engagements will have QE transformation as a core component. So all those of you that have been asking questions, hey, what does my role as a quality engineer become in this world of Gen AI and agentic? Will this role not exist? Think about these statistics, right? QE transformation is going to be core component of pretty much every QE engagement that you're going to look at. Integrated AI augmented testing tools is going to be part of pretty much every enterprise by 2027. Already, if you see, this says in 2024, 90%, but if you ask today, every organization ranks AI and ML as the most important criteria when they are selecting automation tools. I don't know how many of you have had the opportunity to read the MIT paper that talks about the divided view of Gen AI implementations. I'd encourage you all to go read that because it gives so many different viewpoints of how organizations are going from proof of concept to prime time implementations, and will give you a very good idea of how your role as a quality engineer is going to be critical as we move towards Gen AI led SDLC and agentic SDLC. With that being said, um, changes and transforming ourselves as a QE organization is not new to us, right? If you remember, I'm thinking of my career and probably dating myself to 25 years ago when we were questioning, did we even need a separate testing team to, setting up TCOEs? I'm sure most of you would remember that, setting up TCOEs, testing centers of excellence or capability centers became a norm. But then we had disruptions that happened in the form of um, agile and iterative development, DevOps, mobility, CI/CD. So there was technology plus business needs that made us change towards quality engineering, where expectation was not to have testing as just a block of effort that you would do as part of your delivery life cycle and most likely towards the end, to integrating the whole shift left became such a common thing to integrate testing early in the cycle, how much of shift left you do, what shift right you do. That meant shift in our talent, shift in not having automation as a side skill, but automation is something we all did, right? So there was less divide of manual testers, functional testers, or automation engineers. Everybody was doing automation. What helped us here is also the next gen automation tools, right? I'm sure you've had demos of 𝐾𝐻 here from Lambda Test, right? So these are tools that are also aiding business focused and individuals to be able to contribute to automation. What is also happening right now, if you think about disruptions in terms of what we are having with Gen AI, our clients are moving to cloud, not just moving workload to cloud, but doing true cloud native development. App modernizations are a norm, which means we are thinking about app resiliency, security, sustainability. All this is becoming important to every delivery we do with a plethora of technologies. So, what does this mean for quality engineering, right? Again, we have got the technology advancements to think about what do we do in QE along with the power of Gen AI and QE agents. This is where I want to talk about us not thinking about this as all or nothing, because that seems to become a thing, right? Hey, if I'm not able to do full-fledged Gen AI-led SDLC, can I even introduce Gen AI into my quality engineering processes? What is the AI bits that I could be doing, or is it even beneficial? So thank you for Jamie, who's already linked the MIT article here that I was talking about. Please go read that. What does become apparent is you need to think about AI, Gen AI, or agentic implementations with ROI in mind, right? It's always great to look at them as the next shiny things, because for those of you that love experimenting with new technologies, it's exciting, but what sustains beyond it being exciting is when it's rooted on ROI. What problems are we solving and how is it benefiting us? Measure it in terms of ROI right from the proof of concept stage. So here's some examples that I wanted to share with you when you think about how could you introduce AI, pure just machine learning based algorithms that you could introduce and build assets and solutions for you. Everything from the examples that you see here, let's say self-healing, right? We could be building, there are tools that do self-healing automation today. You could be building self-healing for all the SaaS implementations, because guess what? We no longer have SaaS products that are doing deployments once in 3 months. They're going monthly and more and more frequently. So what does that mean for enterprises that have implemented these products? More testing, frequent testing. So your automation suite just can't be restricted to just regression and what you do with tiny bits of sanity testing. You need to be able to have automation suites that self-heal. So building that out, thinking about, again, here, good quality data is going to become critical in the other few things that I'm going to talk about, everything from thinking about iterative optimization, including pattern mining, where you look at how production, and this is your shift right aspect, right? How you look at production volumes and production examples of the system being used and use that profiling to do your testing, right? So what are the types of claims that you're seeing? What are the types of products that are being sold often? You want to be looking at that to inform the decisions of what you should be testing, how much you should be testing, when you should be testing. So these are just some examples of implementing AI and ML based algorithms to make sure you're testing effectively. So, right amount of testing, right order of testing, which can save you. And in examples, if I have to give, right, there are teams that have gone from 3 weeks of regression testing to 3 hours of regression testing. And that comes not just with automation, but with optimization. And your ML algorithms could help you do that. Then when we think about generative AI, if you've got your teams have got LLMs, access to LLMs, how do you go beyond just using it in the simplest form to generate test scenarios? We sat back as a team and thought about value levers, right? So that's why I'm going to start with the right, where you think about what is it that you're trying to do. You want to have productivity boost. You're looking at quality enhancements. You're looking at time and cost savings. You're looking at optimizing your resources. These are value levers you want to start with, and then think about how do you use GenAI for QE. And for us, we put that into 3 different buckets, be it generative aspects where a lot of you would have experimented, generation of test scenarios, cases, generation of automation scripts, including performance test scripts, and testing across layers as well. What's more interesting is the other two, the synthesis and predictive pieces, where you can look at the user stories that are being generated. How can you take the user stories being generated and evaluate, are they fit for even starting your test script preparation or test preparation, right? These are simple, quick ones where you could be using them. Coverage analysis, your existing suite of tests that you have and the tests that you're going to generate, you want to have deduplication, but also ensure that the coverage exists. So less is more in a lot of cases, right? So how can you prove that coverage for a functionality exists at a feature level, at an epic level? Being able to do that, that's power of Gen AI that you could be building. The predictive pieces, again, I'm just taking few examples. I know there are some questions about practical examples, and that's why we're sharing, thinking about how do you predict root causes, right? So I know a lot of teams that do defect logging, but how many of them truly do RCA, the root cause analysis, and actually feed into your development cycle of how are we improving that sprint on sprint, PI on PI? This can help you do that. And think about even automation script failure predictions, right? So you've got your automation suite, but building predictions on where it's going to fail and also show you self-healing abilities. So these are a few use cases. Um, Again, I'm going to go back to thinking about grounding in how is it helping your teams? Is it helping the productivity of the individuals? Is it helping with your duration of the task at hand, either preparation or execution, overall life cycle of your SDLC? that's what you should be using to pick use cases and move forward. That's when you will take it beyond POC to implementing at an enterprise level. Last one is talking about agentic, right? Now, don't take of this as a lesson on agentic here, but thinking about agentic in the terms of the three-tier architecture, right? So building utility agents. Here you will see examples of test script generation. The example that I told you about, user story evaluation, you will look at simple utility agent. A utility agent's task could be just simply downloading your user story from Jira. That could be a single task. Evaluating that could be a single utility agent's task. You could have a utility agent who generates test scripts. You will have a utility agent who reviews the test script, right? So you're building quality on top of that. And then you have super agents that use this utility agents to do tasks like, okay, you're here to do functional testing. So these are the utility agents and this order I will call them. And these are the parameters with which I will evaluate their task and then move it further. So the end-to-end orchestration agent is the one that controls the various flows that you want to have. So think about when you're generating agents in this order, and you will have two different ways, right? Human in the loop, human on the loop. So when you begin with this, you'll have a lot more human in the loop where you may want to review what the utility agent is doing, because some of the sessions yesterday you heard how it is each time you generate an output with GenAI, because these are non-deterministic systems, you won't get the same output, same request, same prompt, you won't get the exact same output. So how are we looking at ensuring that these utility agents are doing exactly what they are doing? You can build other agents that check for quality but have human in the loop. But as you tune these and they become more and more tuned and correct, you will have more human on the loop. So let's say for this process, if you had 10 human in the loop, um, as you tune and you become more and more comfortable with the quality, you may have 3 to 4 human on the loop, right? So there's going to be a lot more maturity of this as you go by. So when you think about this, it's not once and done, but a continuous process of making sure you're tuning and getting to the results you want. It's not it's right or wrong. It's more about tuning and getting to the results you want. Now you may ask, okay, we spoke about what you could be doing with machine learning algorithms, what you could be doing with GenAI, what can you expect with agentic AI process flows for quality engineering? And I've made an attempt to share some practical examples. But what does this do to the talent, right? A question that is on top of mind. What should I be learning? What would my role be? So if you look at our core QE skills on the left, you're really seeing, we had bucketed functional testers, performance testers, data testers, and infrastructure. What I predict is going to happen in the future. Of course, there are newer skills here that where we talk about AI engineers, your skill of prompt engineering, learning prompt engineering is going to become more critical. What you will also see is fungible, right? So if you think about skills in terms of, you're not going to be just an automation engineer who understands probably Selenium open source automation, but you also understand security testing, you understand resilience testing, you're building in skills from an AI perspective and build in self-healing automation. So the whole differentiated talent you see in the below, it's not individual special skills, but as you progress through your journey with AI and quality engineering, you'll see fungible skills that people will bring to the table, and that's going to become critical for you. So one practical advice for me would be, and I do that myself on a monthly basis, is what did I learn this month, right? If you can't do it at a weekly level, on a monthly level, put in a 30-minute for you on a Friday afternoon to go back and evaluate what you've truly learned, and how you are deepening a skill, right? Either it's a new learning, it's deepening of skills, taking it to certification. That is going to become critical. you're not going to be left behind, as quality engineers in the era of Gen AI and agentic AI. You will be left behind if you're not updating your skills. So please keep updating yourself and upskilling yourself on a weekly, monthly basis, and do that appointment with you. I'm going to actually pause and, as I promised, give you the time to ask questions. Let me see how I can stop my screen share so we can take some questions that are coming.
Thank you so much, Subha. That was super insightful. And I can see a lot of questions as well as comments in the chat. But let me just pick up the first question that we have over here. So the question is from Kunal, who wants to know what's the best first step for teams starting their Gen AI journey in quality engineering?
The first step and the easiest step for you is introducing Gen AI from a generation perspective, right? If your teams already have a test suite, get that knowledge base in, get into, using that knowledge base and generating new test scripts and test scenarios. Easiest, one of the things that are it has been tuned quite well. If I thought about this in early 2023 to now, in 2 years, that is something that you can tune it to as much as 90% accuracy, right, with human in the loop. So this is going to help you really get anywhere between, let's say, 30 to 50% effort reduction in test preparation.
Awesome, thank you. Next question is from Vikas. Let me just bring that up on the screen. So Vikas's question is, in the early adoption phase of AI in testing, which core principles should QEs grasp first, and what myths or false assumptions typically slow them down?
Oh wow, this is a question. This question itself can be a 30-minute talk, Kavya. So maybe for the next talk, we should have this as a topic. But
Absolutely. I'm taking notes over here.
exactly, it's exciting to even talk about myths and false assumption. And this MIT paper that I was talking about really
Yeah.
talks about myths and really what's the reality on the ground with Gen AI implementations as well, right? So from a core principle perspective, what I mentioned, think about this from an ROI perspective, right? You can use AI in so many different ways, but for your team, how does it give the return on investment? Does it help your quality engineers or you as an individual save time, increase your quality? That should be top of mind, right? How does it contribute to those two? Will give you an easy answer of how do we start with a use case, right? And my biggest thing is it's not all or nothing, as I started in my discussion as well. You can start use case by use case, right? Like I was talking about starting with generation of test scenarios. Even if it meant it gave you 60% ready scenarios, that is a starting point for you to start expanding on. So not being bogged down by something which is not ready 90%. And the myth here is when it's generated, it's going to be 100% right. No, you start with as low as 40 to 50% efficacy and you tune it, right? So keep that. That is one of the biggest false assumptions that people start with and feel like, oh, this is not useful for me because, the scenarios that are generated are only 50% right. So those two would be my quick one, but great question, Vikas. And a next 30-minute topic, Kavya has added.
Thank you. I'm unfortunately facing some issue with not marking it as answered. So let me just take a quick help and get the next question up on the screen. Yeah. Awesome. So the next question is from Paul Subba, and he wants to know during the crawl phase, what are the key foundational AI concepts for QEs to understand, and what are the common misconceptions hindering initial adoption?
So in the crawl phase, one of the first things you have to think about is the quality of data that you have. And this is traditional AI I'm talking about, right? Where you're looking at machine learning algorithms, where you're looking at patterns. Your quality of data is going to become extremely critical. So understanding that garbage in, garbage out. So for example, even when I was talking about how you can use your existing test suite and then generate additional test suite and then be able to map it and say how much of duplicates exist, where's the coverage analysis. All this depends on how well you've documented these, right? So that's the biggest piece to keep in mind, right? The quality of your existing data is going to give you the quality of output with your machine learning algorithms. So in some of our implementations, what we had to do is even go step back and think about how are teams recording their data today, right? Like how is it being recorded, be it in Jira or any of the ALM tools, right? Application lifecycle management tools. How are each of these individual programs keeping the record of this information? So when you try to do a pattern mining or insightful analysis, you're getting quality output and it's not garbled and you can make intelligent decisions out of it.
Thank you so
I
much,
hope that helps.
Absolutely. And Paul, if this answers your question, do put it in the chat, of course, so that we get to know. Bringing the next question up, which is from Shivam. Do you see testers becoming co-pilots for AI or AI becoming co-pilots for testers?
Good. So this is who is in the driver's seat or the pilot seat is what Shivam is asking, right?
Yeah.
Again, if you look at today's situation, the human is in the control. Now it is up to the human to see how many autopilot features does the human feel comfortable clicking and being okay with, right? The aircraft may be able to do a lot of things, but it's the pilot's discretion to see which are the features you're able to run it in autopilot and where you believe you have to be the one that has the steering. That's the analysis that I would give. Now, 2 years from now, we may be in a completely different point, but it's still going to have, like I said, right now it's human in the loop a lot more, and it's going to be human on the loop, but we are going to be around.
Thank you so much. I think this is one of those questions that everyone's wondering about. So really appreciate you answering, and shout out to Shivam for putting it in such a great way. Yeah, I could see a lot of laughing emojis. Kudos, Shivam. Bringing the next question up, which is from Pavan. What skills do you think will matter most in QA 5 years from now?
Okay, number one, 5 years is a very, very long time. It's an era in the world of changes that we are seeing today. And if you look at and think about the technology advancements in quality engineering itself, right? If I think about the early 2000s, the number of tools that we had back then, like we had our Mercury interactive tools. I mean, they changed multiple forms, but you had the Windrunners of the world, you had Silk Test, right? How many open source tools did we have back then? Like we can't even remember them at that time, right? Come early 2010s, every other word that you can think of was a tool, open source tool. That was, I call the 2010s the era of open source tools that came about, right? And now if you look at tools are sprouting like mushrooms everywhere. Now it's so in terms of skills, if you step back and think, your ability to have deep functional skills is going to matter a whole lot, right? Again, from a quality engineering perspective, this is something that, I mean, if I look at myself when I finished my graduation with computer math and electronics, and I was doing embedded programming, my reason to get into quality engineering in the first program was the reason that I could see end to end versus being pigeonholed into doing one screen UI development or being in, one functionality that I would be probably fixing bugs for the next year, right? For me, that ability to see the breadth is why I was excited about quality engineering. And now I take that into it's vice versa, right? You look at it from an architecture point of view, you look at it from an end user point of view. So it's across that you compare. And that ability, the analytical ability, the deep functional experiences is going to become critical. With that comes all of the technical skills that you need, right? So prompt engineering is now between you being able to use tools that are grounded in Gen AI, where you could be using automation without having the deep experience of syntactical automation scripts, but being able to use it as a functional user, you're in a better position. So you have those tools out there today. But if you want to, you can think about the world of prompt engineering. If you are excited about tuning the models, tuning the prompts that you're creating, and being able to create reusable solutions for your teams, that's a piece that you need to think about. In terms of tools, every other week you're going to hear a lot more, and we need to keep upskilling ourselves across the layers of what we're going to do and be more relevant. Again, going back to how does this bring ROI to your program?
Yeah. Thank you so much, Subba. I think it has been one of the most engaging, keynotes that I've been a part of, and I'm sure our audience would be able to take away a lot, many insights from this conversation. To our audience, thank you so much for joining the keynote. I hope it has been a great start for the day 3 of TestMu conference. Please follow Subba on LinkedIn and do share your learnings and takeaways from this keynote with the hashtag TestMuConf. And of course, you can keep in touch with Subba and her team once you follow. Subba, once again, I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for being a part of TestMu conference. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. This has been a pleasure.